Okay. Can you hear me good? Can you see me good? I need to take a breath because I was going to start the stream screaming obscenities, but we'll wait a minute. Let's, that way YouTube doesn't throw a hissy fit. You got to wait like 15 seconds or 7 seconds or something like that, but let me count down. In the meantime, can you guys hear me good, see me good? If you're new here, if you love the show, I'll warn you right now, I'm not going down that path in this review. So if you're sensitive and you love the show, this is your warning. Next, if you're new here, there's going to be, and I want to make sure I'm highlighting this because I was looking through the analytics, and Sunday night, we saw like an increase in 80% people that have never been to the channel before. So I thought that was interesting, something about fear. Anyhow, if you're new here, I'm going to go into my thoughts and opinions for about 10-15 minutes for like a first impression review. And then we'll get into fan feedback. I'll announce when I start and I'll announce when I end, so that way you'll know at what point you want to bounce if you don't want the fan feedback. If you do want to participate, you can leave comments in the comment box. If you want to participate at something directed to me and not the community as a whole, excuse me, why don't you, it'd probably be best to wait until after my review, so that way I'll definitely see it. We're small enough to where I can usually answer the great majority of questions. And I gotta say though, I have something planned for D. Gainey said your dumpster diving videos are more entertaining than Fear the Walking Dead. I gotta say something though, is we have an anniversary coming up in June, and me and my daughter are sneaking out to do some dumpster dive videos just to kind of throw back. It'll be a little fun thing, so keep an eye out for that. So that'll be nice on this channel, because that was the first video I ever posted here. But I will say, back to what we're going to do. There is a text-to-speech, so any tip that comes in that's above $3, both tips and super chats, that will be read out by the text-to-speech, and then and anything lower than that, I'll just read out, but after, when we're in the fan feedback portion. Man, is that it? Let me pop out the chat, live chat. Let me pop it out, and then we're going to get started. I'm going to put the chat on the screen just to have something moving. Oh, you know what? I can't do that because I was going to play a couple clips. One thing I want to start off right from the rip. Let me just double check. You remember those old school vids? All right, so I'm assuming you guys can hear me good and see me good. My stats look good. The internet's holding up. Obviously, the internet here's been pretty damn good. Everything's rocking and rolling. So, yeah, we're going to get into it right now for the first impression review. I'm about 3 minutes in, 3 minutes, 10 seconds, just as a mental note, because I clip these for the next day. Okay, so the review portion only. We're going to get into this by saying this is by far one of the dumbest things I've probably ever seen on TV in a while. My God, this was stupid. I often seriously wonder if anybody working on this show, outside of people doing the effects, because the Walker effects, they clearly have some sort of interest and passion in that zombies, something in that realm, because they do look great. And maybe people that are on set, but they don't have a lot of say. I'm not even talking about them because they don't have a lot of pull in what's going on. But anyone that has pull on this show, I find it hard to believe that you have any interest or passion in the zombie genre, because I don't see any of it. Nothing leaks out. I want to jump to something that was probably the moment I threw up my hands actively, not just figuratively. And I was like, what are we doing here? And it was this moment on screen. Now, just to cut it short, if you guys remember last season, tell me if this is true, because for the life of me, I had to go back and look for the clips. First off, Fear wasn't on, what was it on? Fear wasn't on Netflix. I think they switched it to Hulu, and I don't have Hulu right now, so I didn't go back and rewatch it, but I watched clips, and this Screech girl, right? Not the girl on screen, but you know, the Screech, the girl in the thumbnail. She knows things that Madison did and said when she was alone with Morgan 7 years ago. How? Someone in chat, help me. I might have missed it. How does Shriek know, and again, don't say like, oh, they were spying on him. No, they weren't. 100% they weren't. Shriek knows what Madison said and did 7 years ago when Madison was alone with Morgan. How? I want to know that. And then maybe that will help how stupid this gets. The next thing that gets so incredibly stupid is we have this younger character, a little rough, but there's promise in the actor who's playing Dove, one of the kidnapped kids. Dove is told, right, literally, your mother was killed trying to rescue you from Padre, right? And Madison was trying to help your mother rescue you from Padre. That's what she's told. She's like, oh no, your mother was killed by Padre. I was trying to help her break you out. And then she's like, who gave her that idea that that's possible? I did. And then Dove turns on Madison. Fucking brain damage. Who wrote that? Did you get into a fatal car accident, get resurrected in the fucking morgue, and then immediately go, I got a great idea for a TV show. Let's have a character say, yes, I killed your father. But that person, they tried to help, your father rescue you from me, but I killed him, so it's their fault. Maybe I missed something, because there's always a chance that it went in one ear and I kind of, what's a good word for it? I kind of rearranged it in a way that they didn't mean it to say. As soon as I heard that, that was the moment I knew there's no hope for this season, and I don't know what the fuck we're doing here. Padre killed your mother. Well, who gave your mother the idea that it was possible to rescue you? Madison? What the fuck is going on, bro? What is going on? And then you got all these people that are turning tables. 1 minute we got like, you cannot get into Padre's fucking his room, which if you did not see the twist coming a mile away, I don't know. Oh my God, I don't want to insult you, but who didn't see the brother was the Padre and Padre was dead? Who did not the moment they set up the brother, which was never, the brother's not involved in this scenario, and then Padre and the father and all loving relationship, we're going to restore humanity. Who didn't fucking see that coming? The moment they go, oh, binoculars, and he actually said, grown-ass boy, right? Grown-ass adult boy is like, oh my God, Dad said that if you don't have binoculars, you can't see the threat coming. Wait a minute. Does he still have fucking eyeballs? Because binoculars is good to see maybe far away, but if you're on a hill, if you have height advantage, you could see at a distance. But what are we doing here if you're looking into the woods? Binoculars ain't going to do shit, if there's shit obstructing your view. Not only that, it's just so stupid. He's got eyes, but oh my God, daughter or sister, if Dad forgot his binoculars, he's surely about to die. So you knew right away that Dad was going to die. But it doesn't even matter because the twist is dumb. It was the kids the whole time. This Padre thing is fucking stupid. Everything about it, even the end when it's like, they know who we are now, but we just relocate. Like they're just going to fucking move. That'll solve their problems. Anyhow, so you get this big twist. You get all this stupid shit that goes on. Now, some of it I didn't mind, like, what's his name? He shows up. They're all, and again, for the fifth time this season in 3 episodes, maybe 6th time, we have characters that knew each other for years, or a couple years. They got separated 7 years ago. Again, in the apocalypse. In the fucking apocalypse. Anyone remember being in the 90s? You knew a kid in school, one of you moved, and then like they disappeared off the face of the earth, but they only moved 5 miles away. You never fucking saw them again until 20 years when someone invented Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the reality in a world that's not post-apocalyptic. And these guys are in the apocalypse. You could go in any which direction, and you're never going to see these people again, ever. But they're always walking in circles, running into each other. So you got Madison. Oh no, guns are at Madison's face. That's right. I got to get back to my point. But guns are at Madison's face. Oh, well, it's up to the boss. Who's the boss? Danny just walks out. That's all the reunions. Somebody walks out of the woods. Hey, guys, holy shit, Danny, fucking Dwight, Sherry, oh, where, you know, just random reunions, face to face, just, okay. That shit, I don't really mind it as much when it's kind of pointless, but I get they're getting the ball rolling. It was nice to see Danny. Danny's an actor I've liked for years now. Way back in Predator 2, he was one of the cops helping. It doesn't matter, but I liked him in that. Not Dutch. Joe Pesci was in a movie that was fucking hilarious where he played a slumlord, and that guy was in it. Watch that. It's called The Super. That's one of those movies that's hard to find on like Blu-ray, DVD. I've been on the hunt for it for a few years. I should probably just look it up on Amazon. I can never find this movie. We recorded it on VHS off of whatever service a long time ago, and we watched it growing up, and that's that and Dutch. I found Dutch, but Super is one. I gotta look that up. Anyhow, so they're gonna storm Padre, right? Padre is like this, you know, this fully guarded. It's like a prison island, right? This shit is on lockdown, and yet they're gonna just sneak into Padre and take it over in the room with the double mirror, the double whatever. Then they cut to commercial break, come back, and they got past all the guards and all that shit. They show this one interaction where it's like, we're gonna get through, no, yada yada yada. But does it bother anyone at all that they make Padre in this location out to be like this fortified, if you try to come in here, you're dead. If you try to leave, you're dead. But Madison just comes and goes in between commercial breaks. We never see the in-between, not even hinted. And then they're suddenly in front of this double-sided mirror, and she breaks the mirror. They do this big old reveal, and none of it matters because then the daughter all smugly is like, get her, you know, and all of a sudden guards come out of nowhere. The tables have turned, right? Okay, fine. Madison had the advantage. Then Padre has the advantage. Madison had the advantage. Now Padre has the advantage. So they take her off the island for whatever reason. No one's killing each other yet. These are enemies that are at each other's throats, killing each other's side people, but never the main people. And then they get to the island, and then out of the woods comes Danny and the soldiers, and they do their separation where Dove stays with the sister or Shriek and all this other shit, and then they just leave them. They leave their sworn enemies there. Padre with his facility on lockdown, and they just brought him out to the woods, get surrounded. Now Madison has the advantage. They just leave the sister and Dove, and I think there was one more person. They just leave them there. I should be showing some of this footage, but here's the girl from the past. Yeah, this moment was dumb.
Cried when you pulled her from me on the beach.
No one was there but Madison. I got to look through the comments to see if anyone let me know. This lady was killed by Padre guards off screen, and Madison killed her as a zombie. Yeah, I know they already show that. We know that, but when Madison is talking to the girl about making plans and all that, when is the information? When does Shriek get the information? Or Screech. That's her new name.
Go on, Lark. She deserves the truth.
Your name is Odessa.
My name?
It's just so slow. Oh, I forgot the worst part. We're going to get to it. Bro. Watch this. Where's it at? The reveal. I will say one thing. They do a good job making the sister look younger in the flashback. It's just pigtails. I doubt they did much. Maybe put on an extra layer of makeup to kind of give her a younger features or whatever. But they did a decent job. I'll give them at that. Because it did look somewhat younger. Not a big deal. But this is pitiful. This man has a full-on calm conversation while being eaten alive by walkers. Look at him.
I love you both.
Wait, hold the fuck up. Look, he's just chilling, bro. There's even more to it. I made a little clip about it, and I was going to upload it, but even though I think it's shit, I didn't want to spoil it for others, so I thought, let me not upload it. But here's the actual clip.
Don't let this die.
It's
too important.
Too important. He's a flesh buffet right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, dull teeth, maybe some broken teeth, are the pressure is biting down on him to the point where it's ripping, it's tearing his flesh. Zombie, and this is why I think zombie material is so fucking terrifying, because when you're eaten alive, they don't show it. Like, I just wrote this one scene for something coming up in issue 7 of Doomsday Kingdom, where one of the bites, it's a bite from an animal, not a human, it's an animal zombie, and the bite alone, one bite alone just snaps a limb, you know? And we're being a little more, because it's a comic, you got to do flair. But the point, though, is like, you get these characters here and there's this pressure there, and then the dull teeth, there's so much pressure there that it actually just rips your flesh, and then they tear, rip, pull, tear, and it's, you know, vicious. Being stabbed is vicious, but that's a sharp object going in and making clean cuts. This is just straight pressure on you until your flesh just tears open, and he's just chilling. This is what I mean by the passion for the zombie genre. There's just no way anyone who's passionate about this genre goes, okay, we got this guy being eaten alive. All right, let's film it top down. And we know, anyone who knows anything about filming knows why they did it like this. Because when you get actors there who are usually paid, let's just say $500 just to be there for the day, and they're that close to this character, his movements, bumping him in the head, headbutting him, hit him with their shoulders. They got their teeth, they're exposing their mouth and their face, and even makeup, even the makeup and masks and how it's all applied. That's why the choreography is very expensive to film, because you're taking weeks and weeks. Sometimes John Wick, they take weeks to choreograph these scenes and then to film them. Imagine you come in and go, all right, well, just stand there and talk your lines. They film it, they get done, out of there. Cost them $20 to film this scene. But imagine if there was this actual fight of him trying to, push them off, screaming at them. There's passion in this moment. Now you got to choreograph that. Now you got to, maybe even the guys around him, 2 or 3 guys are actually stunt guys instead of just random extras. And you're going to pay the stunt performers more. So now you got to bring a crew in, maybe one guy in that choreographs it with like 5 others, the main principal there, and then not the actor, but the main fight zombies. Now you got to bring them in, and you got to actually figure out who's hitting who and how are you moving him and shoving and yada yada yada. And then you got to film it in a way where you're not hurting them. You could fake a punch and accidentally punch him right in the mouth, and then I don't know how that, as far as liability. That's why the choreography is so stiff, because it's cheaper. And I want to make sure I highlight that, because it's easy, if you're not a fan of behind the scenes of filmmaking, it's easy not to even pay attention to that. But that's why it's even such a bigger flaw, because it's like, okay, well, we don't have the money or we don't care. So here's this scene where we want to pull the emotions from people, but we don't want to pull the work in. It's like you're a weightlifter and you want the gold medal for benching 300 pounds, but you don't want to go to practice to actually put the work in to bench 300 pounds. They want your emotional investment. They want your time to go to this show instead of other shows. They want your money, your time to the fandom to go to this show, but they don't want to put the work in. Anyway. So you get this guy eating up real shitty way. I wonder if there's anything I missed, because I'm already done talking about oh wait, this is the thing bro.
I love you both.
Love you both. And then slow-mo. Now he's being eaten alive right now. There's probably a zombie eating his nuts right at this very moment. Look how calm he is. He's a real soldier, bro. He is a real soldier. There's probably a zombie deep throating the shit out of that. He's biting his kneecap off. You never know. There's a zombie nibbling at his toes, and he's just,
let this die.
Look at this. Rock solid, bro. Rock solid. Anyhow, so it's too important. That was terrible. This app is obnoxious for anything that's you're trying to bounce around. So I'm not going to bounce around too much. Just let me double check. Oh, and the way characters get out of sticky situations as well, it's so cheap. And speaking about the locations and the sets, they're doing something very similar to what The Walking Dead did in its final seasons, where they get this really shitty like train car experiment area, and we're constantly seeing them come back to this location to reuse it. Because they have this location, and obviously if you're moving on to a new location, it's going to cost extra money. So they're constantly reusing these locations. And if you start looking at them, you get reused locations, and then you get some areas that just don't hold a lot of interest. It's trying to show, and a lot of roads with like dirt, dirt paths. That stuff's little stuff that is also big, because it's not, when you're watching it, you're not going, oh, I need to see like great visuals, but you do pick up on it, She looks real familiar, but I can't place it. She might just have like that familiar face. But I can't place what she's from. She looks familiar too, actually. The girl who, and that one thing I will say about the writing is that was effective and a good way to incorporate strategic writing into a script. And what that means is you want to try to get the audience to follow your breadcrumbs, but you don't want to overshow your strategy. You don't want to be too suspicious about it. So they have this scene where it looks like this girl could be the mother, and it's Fear the Walking Dead, so it's not overly complex. There's probably a really good chance that this woman might end up being her mom. There wasn't a lot there for me, but I give them credit that they did try to lead it into that direction, because it shows that there was some thought into, okay, let's get the audience to get connected here. And then when we pull the rug out from under the character, we pull the rug out from under the audience as well. I'll give them props on that aspect to it. Again, it was a small aspect, but I at least give them the props on that. And I think that's pretty much done. Excuse me, I need a refresher. This shit is bussin'. Green Machine. Wow. All right. Let me pull up the comments here just so I can see if anyone made a comment about where they were when she was talking about it. The twist is more like a straight line. Ain't that the truth? Madison doesn't need oxygen tanks anymore. I don't see anyone talking about how how Shriek knew what Madison said when Shriek wasn't there and Madison was alone. How does she? I don't see anyone mention it. If I catch it, maybe I missed it. If I catch the comment, if there is an excuse, I'll highlight it. But until then, we're done with my thoughts and opinions. I make it a point to, I know someone made a comment last week about if Ronnie says he's not watching or reviewing Fear anymore, I know to check in. And I just want to warn you guys, overly warn you, the day where a Sunday comes up and I'm just not here and we don't cover the Fear of the Walking Dead, or at least we don't talk about Fear of the Walking Dead, it's a I'm just giving you a heads up. It's a high possibility, because even 1 and 2 were dumb, but they had some stuff to discuss, Episode 3 was just so, it's one of those moments where you if you're a viewer, not for every viewer, obviously, but it's one of those moments where if you're on the edge, it's the episode that breaks you, that makes you go, yep, I don't need to show up next week. I could catch it whenever. I'll watch it, never. 2 weeks away from never. Who gives a shit? Oops. Anyhow. Oh, wait a minute. Was that Daniel? Hold on. Was that Daniel and Madison's first reunion? Is that what that was? No. I don't want to cough in your ear. if that's the case, I thought they reunioned. I thought they reunited before, because again, I skipped last season. I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, yeah, I'm done. Last season, oh man, that was fucking awful. If that's the case, add that to my long list of things that sucked. That reunion was awful. And one thing I notice as well, I understand why they want to save budget. They don't have budget to choreograph, epic horde zombie moments. I get it, because it's a money issue. There's there's an objective line going to that saying we don't have the money to choreograph it. So hold still, say your lines, don't punch the extra in the mouth. I get it. But when it comes to other scenes like Daniel's reunion with Madison, there's no way. Take out fighting. There's no way you don't have them ramp up that tension, do this amazing scene where these people think you're with Padre and that's fucking it. They might even execute you. Like, ramp it up to where they're not believing you and they pull one of them down on their knees and, something like that where there's tension there. There's something actively going on. And I still feel like that's the bare minimum to do a reunion and have Daniel come up at the last minute, or even in a cool way. It doesn't have to be the cliche last minute, but they just, oh man, it was just like, hey, we're against Padre too. We don't believe you. Well, let's wait for the leader. Oh, it's Daniel. That's, oh, hi, Mark. That's how it felt. Anyhow, that's my thoughts and opinions for I'm done. I talked longer than I wanted to. I think I talked for like 20 minutes. I'm done. I'm shutting up. I'm going to get into the fan feedback now. So we're over around 26 minutes. If you guys want to give your thoughts and opinions, shoot them in the comments. If not, we'll talk a little more and we'll wrap it up. Because I did mention me and my daughter, we were actually going to go film some dumpster dive stuff the 2 nights ago. What was it? We got rained out, so it rained. But coming up, we're going to go out again. I'm doing it a little early because we're not posting the videos until June. There's a reason for that, but there's going to be a June update and yada, yada, yada. Wait, we have 2 more days of this month and then we're in June and it's around June 10th. So I tried to do it a little early, but we're going to probably try to get out there this week, do 2 or 3 dives, maybe 3 or 4. I don't know. It depends on how the area is looking. But I do have a hard drive filled of old, dumpster dives, and I don't know if I put all of them up, so I can show footage and edit it into a little mini video. It's not long, just a little anniversary video because it's been a long time since we did one, and I'm going to post it on the same date that when that was. I was thinking about posting it leading up to the date and then doing a live stream because I'm getting more information. I was looking into this job I was going to do. Pick up this maintenance job, and it's good pay. And I was thinking, it depends on if that goes through. I'm going to make an announcement because based off of those hours, I'm going to restructure what I do online. And there's two different possibilities. One is full time with anything else that I can put on the channel, like just the scrap hours. And that'll primarily go to the Flaw vs. All channel. And I don't know what we'd cover outside of, Dead City, for example. We are covering that in June. So we'll be here, at least for a map, we'll be here on Sundays. But like I said, I need to find out about that job situation and then a couple other things, and I'll be able to do an actual update. Because my thing is, I want to be able to start funding these videos better instead of relying on YouTube ad revenue and supporter tips and donations and stuff. So my idea was to lock down this job that came up that is good pay and grind some overtime, pick up some, be on call and go in and get some extra money and start putting in some sort of fund weekly, month, 2 weeks towards something that we can do, because there's some upgrades I need to do and some other things as far as the edits. But anyhow, So that'll be an update. And I would like to start from a clean, because a lot of times past few years, I'm juggling. I've been saying this since like 2018, man. Like, all right, well, we'll do this, we'll do that. And then I work when I can around freelance work and yada, yada, yada. And I need to focus on the work aspect, even if it's something where I'm working so much during the week. I can't even edit, an hour 1 week because there's just that much work. I'm just going to have to do it, but we'll see. So be prepared for, I don't want to say like a big update video, but it'll probably be a stream, and then we can discuss what's going on, because it's more like taking a break to refund some stuff and then getting some time management together to where I can say, I'm not going to be, as an example, guys, I'm not going to be around a lot, but at least once a month for now until things settle down. You can go on this date for the Floversaw and yada, yada, yada. And again, as an example. Anyhow, Death by 1,000 Hickeys, Neck Deep Zombie. Yeah, that was the first time Daniel and Madison seen each other since the dam. That's terrible. That is terrible. That is actually awful. Imagine Rick and Daryl just walking into each other, coming out of the woods, And again, it doesn't have to be like Daryl's doing this huge, escape, and Rick shows up on a helicopter, shit's blowing up, and they embrace, and slip each other the tongue. It doesn't have to be like this complex reunion of craziness, but filmed in a way that has, oomph to it. There was no oomph to this. Even the reunion of Prisoner Daryl with Rick at Hilltop had more oomph than this reunion, which is insane. Not just those characters, but how it was filmed, Anyhow. Yep, this is the first time. 100% agree. Hope you have an awesome night. Gotta head to work. All right, thank you very much, Anderson Brown. Have a good one. Him just slurping on a drink. Yeah, burrs. So stoked about Dumpster Dive videos. I think it'd be kind of cool. It would be nice if we can find a nice spot and maybe check it out. What's a good way to put it? Consistently, not like a full-time, we're going to do dumpster dive videos. That's not what I'm trying to say. But the reason I say this is because dumpster diving isn't like you go out and you score big. Dumpster diving is you got to go out every night, hit up the same dumpsters, the same 20 dumpsters, and never miss a night. And one of those nights out of 10 nights, you're going to score something awesome. 4 of those nights, you're going to score a couple little small cool things that you can reuse. That's dumpster diving. You might go, a whole week and not find one thing. And then on the 9th day, you hit the jackpot at every dumpster you go to. That's just how it is. Now, one thing I do want to highlight with dumpster diving is it's bigger. For years, I've been saying this, probably for 20 years, because I grew up in an old, poor ass coal mining town, and then they started bringing businesses around and building it up. And we actually used to dumpster dive, Barnes & Noble when they first came to our area when I was like 13. So I've been dumpster diving for a long time. Well, I've known and participated in dumpster diving for a long time. And Barnes & Noble back in the day was huge because what they did was when they got magazines, they would rip the cover off the ones that don't sell. And then they would give the covers ship the covers to the magazines, and they would get credit for those instead of shipping all of the magazines back. So every month, every week, Barnes & Nobles would dump out boxes and boxes of books and magazines and yada, yada, yada. And we would just load up anything that was interesting. Anyhow, it started there, and then we noticed other stores as well. They'll have, and I often hear people say like, oh, that they don't do that. They don't do, your store, you want to believe your store is great. And I'm sure some of your stores are, but the majority of them are like this. Okay, that's out of season. You check the inventory. Did we make money off it? Did we make a lot of money off it? How much would it cost us technically to keep it in stock, but have it off to the side. Like, is it keeping up real estate? And that's the shelving space. You know what? It's not worth it. We're not making much profit because it's out of season. We're only selling one every 2 months. Throw it out. It's easier for them to throw it out. And we're talking everything. I found luggage from, what was it? Burlington Coat Factory. They're one of the worst. I actually worked for them, and they would make you cut up the clothing with scissors and, yada. And the only reason is because they don't want to get sued if people get hurt dumpster diving. But they'll get really nice luggage and all this shit, and they'll slice everything up and throw it out. But one thing that I think is crazy with dumpster diving is the fact that it's huge on TikTok now. See, if I knew back in the, how do I put this? If I started back in the day, I would have put it on TikTok. Why? Because those quick finds are like little adrenaline boosts. It's great for a full video. But when you go and you dive, you can take these little clips and be like, bam, look, I found this display. On my channel, I still have this huge display of the Last of Us stuff that I found. They threw out their entire Last of Us promotional material. And I found, I think, a majority of it, like, the stuff that you look up now from the very first game that is, it used to cost a lot of money if you sold it on eBay, but I got like 2 tabletop little poster standees I have in the background. I actually still have one of my favorites. This is Joel and Ellie from the kiosk. The kiosk had and it's funny too, because the kiosk had old artwork that had clickers with eyes. And this is a little throwaway fun fact about The Last of Us, but the early artwork for the original game had clickers with eyeballs still. And you can still see it in one image in the concept art that came with the art book. Other than that, everything else is updated. But the kiosk had the old art, and it has the clicker with eyeballs. Anyhow, so the kiosk was Joel on this side, Ellie on this side, and the middle was like the background of the poster, and that's where the PlayStation 3 was. And you have the little side here that had images of the game and yada, yada, yada. And I still have all the pieces of that. I threw the big kiosk out because it takes up so much space, but those were so cool to find. I'm not from Shikshinny, no. I know what Shikshinny is. But anyway, I'll shut up about dumpster diving. But the last thing I do want to say about it, though, is when you dumpster dive, if you do it just to see how much we waste, it's astronomical. Your mind cannot even fathom how much we waste as a society. Like, even thinking about, like, I was doing some training of this job that I want to get into with doing maintenance on apartment complexes. This area is starving for people, and they'll pay you like, between 18 to start, 18 to like 25 an hour. It's crazy, but and they work with you with time and all this. Anyhow, long story short, the one example is they go through apartments, you find a toilet that has like a lid that's scratched up, rip the toilet seat off, chuck it out, and you get that regularly with shit like that. Now, I think the retail stores, now keep in mind, look around your area, how many apartment complexes, how many of these pieces are getting like cosmetic damage and just chucked or whatever they're doing with them. Now, but the retail stores are the worst because they'll put out all these tons of plastic and metal displays. That doesn't get recycled. I'm sure some of it does, but the majority of it, I've always found them in the trash after the fact. Like these huge metal big displays of the earphones for Turtle Beach in the garbage. Even with the sample headphones, they cut the cord, because it's embedded into the metal display. The whatchamacallit is terrible too. What is that? The makeup places, because they'll put out these really fancy, they'll get these blocks, like this giant plastic as an example that zooms in on the picture and it makes it look kind of cool. And the picture will be painted on one side of this giant plastic block. They get all this shit in. They have it on for the season and then they chuck it all. You find it all in the dumpster. I sold a lot of beauty store displays that people threw out, that I sold it as just a home display. Like you can set up collectibles or stuff for your house, your spice rack, it doesn't matter. Because it's all like, if you take all the stickers off it, it's all just clear plastic that's been heated up and folded into, like racks. But they got special looks to them. It's hard to explain. Instead of like a boring spice rack, it has somewhere one will be curved this way, and you got tiers, or some of them are circular. It's all crazy, but that shit all gets thrown out. Madison was only brought back as a member berry. Oh, absolutely. Coming full circle for your 10-year YouTube anniversary at Dumpster Diving. Yep, it's going to be an anniversary for this YouTube channel. I mean, I'm always interested. I'm always interested in making content, but I think I got a little lost in the flow of producing, because when I was like, all right, The Walking Dead is going downhill in quality. I just don't have the passion to really cover it with news and, predictions. And yet I just don't have the passion to do it. Not only that, when I'm looking at it, it's great when it's airing because people are interested, but the moment it's not, your old videos get no views. I guarantee. Take any big channel that covers Walking Dead. I'm sure there's a ton of them still out there. More that has risen up and yada, yada, yada. I guarantee every single one, their old videos get less than 5 views constantly, even take the whole month. I guarantee it. Especially if they're anywhere a year or whatever, and the storyline has wrapped up. And it's even prediction videos, 1 view, 2 views a month, guaranteed. And I'm more interested in making content where, like with my Flaw Saw, you could go to my Flaw Saw channel this year, next year, 3 years from now, and the content is always relevant. With the Walking Dead shit, you go back and watch an old video, and you might do it for nostalgia and to see what people think back in those days. But it's like 1 to 5 views a month. You get what I'm saying? It's so small. There's no interest. Anyhow, I think I just got lost in the flow, because then I was thinking, all right, well, I got to keep content on the channel. So I would, float around and bob around and grab things that I was interested in to keep content. But then once once I realized that it got to a point where with YouTube, even with its, its YouTube system was just fucked a lot of things up, because they had 2 big moments where they pulled advertising and it hit hard, and I know the first moment I got walloped, but the second one I got walloped. That was the moment where I think overnight it was like, yeah, there's no money from YouTube that can sustain it at all. It went from, we might be able to build this up and actually sustain. So the content, I'm here, I think for like 4 years, I'm here and I'm only making content for YouTube, and it's on the up and up, and views never change. Cause I know some people, well, you stopped talking about The Walking Dead, but that's not the reality of it though. The truth is, when YouTube had that big blowout with PewDiePie, the ad revenue got chopped on particular channels. I don't even remember how the algorithm picked that, but your ad revenue just got, Neganed, obliterated. But it doesn't matter. The point is, it's been running lately. It's been running in the last few years to where I was just posting stuff I'm interested in, very minimal work, and it's anything I need to do for the channel's costing me money at this point, So I think I just got to pull back, think about what I love. Well, I've already done that, but the Flaw Saw style is probably top priority. It's not the only thing I wanted to do, but it's definitely the top priority as far as the main content. I still would love to be able to jump on maybe in a year or 2 from now, we'll see how it goes, and talk about fucking random different anything. Anyhow, Why didn't they have Madison and Alicia have a reunion before Alicia left the show? Some of that shit I'll never know. I think it's because of money. Alicia left, so it left a vacancy for budget. Think about it. I mean, let's be honest. Alicia was the highest paid cast member, right? Or one of. I forget. I read an article on it, and I think she was, maybe Lenny James was, but I could have sworn she was the highest or second highest. She leaves, and Madison comes back, filling that financial, spot. I just don't believe. I don't believe that doesn't play a part, because creatively, that is dumb. It's huge on TikTok now. Yeah. Dude, they threw away everything they don't sell. They throw away everything they don't sell. Petco throws always animals. There's videos of people finding them. Oh yeah, and the pet store stuff is they'll throw away live animals and shit, food, dog food, yada yada. A lot of these places don't donate it too for stupid reasons, but some of them have like legitimate reasons why they do things. Like for example, one of the stores I was at a conference for, I think it was Burlington Coat Factory. I actually did the inventory for them for a while as a job. And one of the stores talked about contractually, this wasn't Burlington, this was another store. Contractually, Nike, for example, will not donate. I don't want to say Nike because it was another company, I'm pretty sure. But back then, all the big companies did this. They wouldn't donate because then it allows, basically, it allows poor people to wear it, and it kind of takes the edge off the brand's name. It devalues the brand. Imagine if, take like what's a really high-end brand that is just stupid prices? Balenciaga, is that one of them? Take that brand and now donate their clothes to thrift stores. It devalues it tremendously. Instantly, so instead they'll destroy it instead of donating, instead of doing anything that's, it doesn't matter. But that was going around. But with Burlington, they took in surplus, and the part of the idea was, if people know that the dumpsters is filled, there's twofold. If people know the dumpsters are filled, you're going to have people get hurt eventually, and they're right, and they'll get sued, which is really stupid. You should have a policy where if anyone dumpster dives, you're on your own for if you get hurt. Now, if they're setting traps, that's different. But anyway, the other policy, the other part of that is if you have a system where you're throwing out goods, workers, it's how did they put it? It increases the opportunity for bad workers to sneak out or to devalue an item, so that way they could just take it home. That's why workers can't take it, yada, yada, yada. There's a lot of these things, and I'm sure there's even more shit going on that we could talk about. But the point, though, is the amount of stuff thrown away every day is fucking insane. This episode was just padding to get us to Kings County. Oh, I saw that in the previews, and it looked like Morgan is in Kings County. Listen, where are we at right now? Because I thought we were on the West Coast. Kings County, even if they traveled some, there's no way they're even close to Kings County. There's just no way. I mean, weren't they over in Texas? I'm trying to think. They already been through Mexico. They were at Texas. They did bounce around some. Then they did travel. Shit, they did go somewhere. Where did they go? I don't believe they made it over to... I just don't believe it. You guys probably know better, though. Speaking of discounts, I had a liquor store co-owner offer me half price on a 6-pack of Fruity Lagnets or whatever beer that isn't selling. I noped on it. You've been watching since season 5. Thank you very much, Carlos. We might slow down just so I can basically refund the future of what we do here. So we will be slowing down this year, but it's for the best for later on, because I've been doing this stumble, for too long. And again, too, a lot of it's my fault, because I should have just picked Flaw vs. Saw and dropped everything else and split my time cleaner and just did that like with blinders on, but I don't know. So we'll see. At this point, I've tried everything that was suggested. I know live stream video games were suggested for so long, and at least we tried it. And the first 5 months was amazing. I mean, if we kept that going, we probably could have done that for the long run. But I don't know what that future would have looked like, because I still want to edit the Flaw vs. Saw. So, but I mean, that was still hell of a lot of fun to just take, 6 months and actually work as if it was like a job doing live stream video games. That was a fun 6 months, But now we've actually tried, unless I didn't see your suggestion, but we've tried it. I used to go back and watch old GOT live streams all the time. You're the one that watches them. Like I said, there's people that'll watch them, but because keep in mind, I get 5 a month, So I'm sure they're not all the same 5 people. So there's people, but my point is it's so vastly different than the numbers of stuff that's active, Thank you very much, Luke Nasty. Since Alicia was exposed to radiation, that makes her last scene seemingly walking away healthy, a reality and not a dream. So could this mean a potential reunion with Madison? No. I mean, unless they do it now, which that would be weird to have her leave and goodbye only to be back this season. That doesn't make sense. But if they did it to shock the audience for a reunion, all right, fine. Unless it's in the very last episode, I just don't see that happening. I don't. That actress is gone, So we're never going to get Alicia Madison reunion. I don't think we will. Like I said, unless it's the very last episode or 2, I just don't see it happen. Or the last episode Madison is in. If she leaves the show in episode 9, anything after season 3 should be in canon. Maybe that's why my town had a fucking gator running around town here in the Midwest. Whoa, yikes. What up, encouraging community? Still making comics, Ronnie? Yep. Doomsday Kingdom is on issue 7. Morgan was with Mo in Louisiana at the end of 6. Wait, Mo is in the white female trucker girl? That Mo? Because that's really weird how... It wasn't her name, Mo. Let me look it up. And then Morgan's daughter. She's such a stupid. I don't mean to be like that dick, because I know people adopt and people yada yada yada. But this whole my kid, but she's not his kid shit. I don't know, man. It's just fucking stupid. And it's not stupid, it's just poorly done, I feel. Just to have Morgan, we're not talking about Joel runs in and it's purposefully done with him losing his daughter, but besides the point, he runs into Ellie at 14. Morgan runs into a pregnant girl and it starts from scratch. Here's a thought, writers. Just have Morgan have another actual kid. Why not? What are we doing? You're already doing all these time skips. Just have Morgan have an actual kid, you fucking dope. You stupid bitch. What are you doing? I also want to show you guys. Let me show you. Because I might have it wrong. Wait. Let me double check this here. That's right, Atlanta. What was I had a brain fart of where the first season took place, and for whatever reason, my brain just wasn't letting me do it. And then it was like Atlanta, and I was like, all right, fuck me, bro. Where's the show at? What am I? Okay. I got an idea. Because in the comic, it's Kentucky. I think that's what fucked me up. In the comic, it's in Kentucky. And the show, correct me if I'm wrong, in the show, it's at Atlanta. The comic, it's Kentucky. That's so cool. One day I want to go there to like filming locations. I think that would be so cool. But once Juliet's in college and, you know, doing her own thing and she doesn't need her dad around anymore, I'm going to start, you know, go venturing out and doing more travel stuff. That'd be cool. That'd be something to do, you know? Okay, so we have, if I can pull up an image. You guys probably don't even care, but if I pull up an image, yeah, Kentucky is just above Georgia, so they kept it in the same area because Virginia is to the right of Kentucky. I mean, I understand why they did it in the comic, because you get Kentucky shoots right over to Virginia, but didn't they go somewhere else? Didn't they make like a little loop or something? But you guys said he was in Louisiana last. And that makes sense. They're still in Louisiana then. It would make sense because Louisiana touches ocean. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm pretty sure that's not just a giant lake there, that they're at the ocean in the episode. I wasn't really paying attention to the location. Is that right? Besides a Daryl spinoff, do you think the other spinoffs will have new zombies, smart zombies? I think they're going to go that way. Once you open that door, I don't see them taking it back. Morgan and his wife had a kid in season 6, but they had a miscarriage. Yeah, that's fine. But my point, though, is they should have just had the kid. You know what I mean? It's really incredibly stupid to not have a kid when you get like this. Again, you're going for emotional impact for the story. Now, maybe let's say you as a writer, you have adopted or you were adopted, so you want to translate that type of love on screen. Cool. I'm down for that. I don't get that vibe here. This vibe here feels like they wanted to write him losing a child, but then they liked the idea of Daddy Morgan, so they course corrected. Wait. Does anyone like this show? Does anyone in the chat right now like the show? I ain't mad at you. I mean, I just watched something the other day that I know people don't like, but I dig it. What the fuck was it? Damn, what was it? I have to think about it. But I remember being like, I don't care if people don't like this. I dig this, you know? Yes, Rick Grimes is from Kentucky in the comics. All right, so in the show, it's Atlanta, and that is where Rick's house is at. And Morgan was at Rick's neighbor's house in both show and comic. Now, in the show, Morgan is at Rick's neighbor's. Again, that's important because that tells us exactly where it is, and that's in Atlanta. Atlanta, Georgia. So, shit, sorry. So Georgia is right above Florida, if you're not looking at a map and you're not really sure. And Louisiana is west of Georgia, in between two states. Or that's not in between two states. Two states are in between Louisiana and Georgia, which is, holy shit, which is Mississippi and Alabama. So they would have to, unless they're in Alabama now or Florida. Wouldn't Florida be distinctive though for the look of their? No, I guess Florida and Alabama would kind of look, because they share. Florida and Alabama in at least a port. Florida, Alabama, and Georgia, at least a portion of it, probably shares exact similar visuals, except for what's man-made, what's naturally there, just because of the way that man did the layout of the borders. The Florida's border is just stupid. It just cuts straight over into Alabama. But my point though is, I don't know if we'd be able to lock down where they're at unless they say where they're at. I missed it probably. So if they shoot over there, how's that work though? That is not, if they're in Louisiana, there's no fucking way Morgan is going to travel 2 states away. Now it's 4 states playing part. Start Louisiana, travel to a small little sliver of Mississippi, travel a huge chunk of Alabama, the entire width of Alabama, and then go into Georgia. There's no way he can do that unless that is after they wrap up. Padre's not going to move to Georgia, right? I mean, how convenient would that be? With these writers, yeah, Charlie probably still alive somehow. Yeah, I saw they mentioned she's dead. Padre doesn't seem as big of a threat as the show before, which makes no sense. As a finale villain, it's dumb. Yeah, it's super dumb because it's just some asshole behind a mirror and they don't show any oomph to it, I love the show in Erickson's era. Probably one of my favorites. Morgan era is a whole different story. You don't watch it at all? Encouraging community? I feel you there. Is it possible that Charlie is still alive? I think it's possible, sure. But I just doubt it. It just doesn't make any sense for her to surprise and be alive. It doesn't make sense. But maybe the reveal isn't, doesn't have any oomph anyway, and that's why it doesn't make sense. I love the 100, and I know it was cringe fest. I like the first 2 seasons of that. The one moment where they have people tied up and someone gets killed. I thought that was a cool moment, but also there was something at the very end that I hated when the hot blonde was like, I'm going to go back in the wild, in the woods. I stopped the show that moment. I think it was season 2 finale. Her decision was so incredibly stupid. I was like, nah, I'm done, bro. You spent this entire time to bring these people rescue, bring them over here. And then you're like, I'm out. I'm going to go live in the woods. Very dangerous, woods. Nah, nope. Not happening. No, I'm not fucking with it. Walking Dead Wiki says Padre is in Georgia. Get the fuck out of here. Georgia's not. Oh, wait a minute. I was looking at Georgia from the perspective of them coming from Louisiana. A part of Georgia next to South Carolina does touch ocean. So there would be a harbor there. It's not like in the show they're at a harbor, but it looks like the ocean. It doesn't look like a giant lake, So yeah, they could be in Georgia right now. They could play it off if they're all the way. So they're saying they went from California, they started, and they went from California to New Mexico to Texas, Louisiana, they mentioned. So they're just doing a little loop, and now they're all the way. So they literally went from one coast to the next. You know, they jumped 7 years when they were already stable. So you would have to believe, it doesn't matter though. I mean, this part is kind of nitpicky, but Morgan went from the East Coast to the West Coast in what appeared to be no time at all. And again, imagine walking from one side to the next in the post-apocalypse, man. I just feel like that would take a lot longer than these people make it out to be. Because don't forget, it's not like today where you can you got clean roads and highways and yada, yada, yada. You can stop and get water and coffee and tea and whatever you need and keep moving. It's a post-apocalypse, man. When you stop, you need to find food. You need to hunt. You need to yada, yada. And then you need to prepare food for the journey that you're going to go on until you stop and get more food. So you're going to have this issue arise where it's just all fucked. And speaking of which, I found something out recently that blows my fucking mind. I always wondered, like, what did people do back in the Wild West? Imagine you're in the Wild West and you're going on a little journey and they're always making eggs. They're always cooking eggs in the cast iron pans. They have this whole setup and yada, yada, yada. And they would cook eggs on horseback in the middle of nowhere. And I always wondered, like, why? How? No, how? They didn't have refrigerators. And then I learned this thing. Yes, it took me till I was an adult to learn. Maybe I learned it as a kid, but I just forgot it. But we only have to refrigerate eggs because of the cleaning process that United States does. Take away that process and you have healthy, chickens and you're doing everything the right way. You don't need to refrigerate eggs. So that means these people, I wonder, what did that look like in the West when they have like egg carriers? Was there like some sort of material with a couple eggs and then like a little solid case? There has to be like egg carriers. I wonder, man, how did Westerns carry eggs? How did cowboys carry eggs? Cowboy life. I don't know. What did they eat? I want to know how they carried the fucking eggs, you schmuck. How did cowboys carry food? Chucka wagons carried food, cooking supplies, and medical kits. They were driven by the cook who rode alongside the cowboys on the cattle trail. This allowed the ranchers, who often had to travel long distances, to enjoy freshly prepared hot food rather than whatever preserved food they would carry. Oh, so they had oh, yeah. Oh, shit. You know what? That's cool. That's cool. Anyhow, did you hear they're doing a swarm of roaches on Dead City? Sounds like it could be kind of cool. A swarm of roaches? Like cockroaches? Huh? You lost me there. How are they threatening at all? Maybe I need to look that up. Why are cockroaches scary? So what happened to the soldiers in the episode? Did the brother and sister lie and say they abandoned them? Why? How did they think the brother was the dad? Why does it matter? Am I lost or what? Listen, that's another stupid thing. Imagine you're following Padre for 7 years. You've never seen him. You never, had a meeting with him. It's always in the mirror, the glass. You wouldn't think at all to go, yeah, man, he is staying behind that glass in the room. There's something not right with that. Something's up. I mean, we could be following a cripple. I mean, it doesn't matter. He could still lead as a cripple, but we need to know this shit, It's just fucking dumb. It's so incredibly stupid. Have you ever watched any of the new Korean zombie shows on Netflix? Some of them, yeah. They're really good and worth reviewing. I reviewed a few of them already. Don't forget, a lot of stuff that people recommend, like Kingdom. I think it was just called Kingdom. I already talked about that first and second season. I even double checked the video. The review is still on the channel. Train to Busan, obviously, we've already done that one to death. I have a flaw or saw on that. The All of Us Are Dead. Is that the newest one or one of the newer ones? I reviewed every episode, you know? We don't know where they traveled in the time skips. The Walking Dead shows seem purposefully vague on specific locations. That's probably their best bet, so that way they can do this bullshit. Oh, look, we're in Kings County. Hold on one second. Where did Fear... Season 8 filmed... Where? I butchered that. I spelled everything wrong. Fear the Walking Dead was shot in Savannah, Georgia. The official description for season and trailer is Fear the Walking Dead. Okay, so it did film in Georgia, so that at least is cool. It lines up. It's supposed to take place in Georgia. They filmed in Georgia. I'm fine with all that. Now, when you rewatch it, or when you watched it for the first time and you wonder, well, how did they get from the West Coast to here? They must have did it in between the time skips, but here's the biggest problem. These characters separated. They fucking separated. Yet they all find each other in Georgia? Like, what are we doing? Bro, they separated before Georgia. Daniel separated from Madison back in, what, Texas? It was the dam that you guys talked about. Wasn't that in Texas? Daniel separated from Madison in Texas and suddenly runs into her in Georgia. Not only that, the last we saw Daniel and the group, where did they separate? It was last season. Weren't they in Louisiana? So they separated in Louisiana and now they're all suddenly meeting up in Georgia? How does this make sense? You are allowed to nitpick when the show has become less believable than Z Nation under Cham, Bliss, and Goldberg. Yeah, that's true. Horse eggs. Fuck, bro. Swarm of roaches. Laugh out loud. Yes, cockroaches. Negan and Maggie have to hide under them to avoid walkers. Oh, so you're talking like this is different. You're not talking there's, a thin layer of roaches on the floor. You're literally talking about 3 feet deep of roaches, you know? I mean, okay, I can see that being different. I can see people that are like, for bugs. Yeah, that's a way to creep them out for sure. I wonder why the zombies aren't, snacking on roaches or walking on the roaches, though. I'll have to see the scene to see how they do it. That's vastly different, though. That could work. I'll have to see how they do it, but that could work. Are we getting a Kingdom season 3? I don't know. I fell off of the news for Kingdom. I know they did a movie connected to Kingdom. And yes, they did the Zombie Kingdom Netflix show. They did it after I released my comic Doomsday Kingdom. Just in case anyone's thinking like, did you name it because of that? Da-da-da-da? No, I did it years ahead of Kingdom. The Walking Dead universe died long ago. It's a show of coincidence of inconvenience. They had aircraft repair knowledge, hot air balloon knowledge. Yikes. Daniel was on one of the rafts with Charlie at the end of last season. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, last season, they get on these rafts and they all go different directions. Wasn't that the thing? Or were they all following the same path? I thought it was... I skipped it. I watched a recap. Remember, I could not handle last season. It was bad. I thought I was under the impression Strand and them, they all kind of went their... No, they were going the same place, I guess, but it doesn't matter. It's just too coincidental to be meeting up, I got a crick in my neck. Oh, I gotta see a doctor about it, bro. That shit's been there for like a week. Did you know that the Walking Dead finale had an alternate ending? Yes, where they filmed the kids all grown up and traveling together. They even had a leaked photo on Twitter. I saw that, and that's one of those rare times where AMC or the creative team made the right choice. To end the Walking Dead show with characters that we've only gotten to know over the last couple of seasons is shit. And that's how they did it. But to end the show by skipping, 15 years and showing us actors that we've never seen before, and they're the kids of characters we care because of, the connections there and the legacy and yada, yada, yada. But we don't actually care. Like, I don't give a fuck about RJ, Rick's son. I don't give a fuck about you little bitch, But I will, I know that that's a potential, like, legacy character. I will. But just because it's as like a human being, it's like, oh, there's a kid there. Protect the kids and yada. Yeah, I want to make sure there's a distinct difference in it. But you don't give a shit because they didn't do anything cool and interesting. You're not following them as like a character, you know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, you're not following them. So it sounds mean when you're like, I don't give a shit about, Herschel, baby Herschel, fuck him, but that's the truth though. We don't care because it's just a new character. It's a new potential character, but you didn't do anything with them yet. So to skip time and to show us like the kids, it can be done. Absolutely. A lot of this shit, concept-wise, you can do it in a way that really works. But, I mean, the way they showed it was, here's a bunch of shithead-looking characters. They even looked stupid. It looked like CW shit. They're out on the road, and you get the idea that they're away from the aged characters that we know and love. And it gives you this idea of separation. Like, here's the show that you love, the characters you love fade out, fade up. And then here's some random actors that you don't know anything about. And they're supposed to be characters that you're supposed to care about. I'm glad they skipped that because that shit is trash. Does this show even have any eye candy in it? No. Maggie looks smoking in the upcoming spinoff. I'm going to check it out for her. Yeah, she looks pretty damn cool in it. Somebody mentioned she looks like Jill from Resident Evil. And in the one scene, she does. She really does. Let's wrap it up, though. I do want to shut it down. I don't want to go too much longer. Let's get this. I wanted to see what... Yeah, let's move some shit off the screen here. We don't need these. There we go. We'll make this a little bigger for the last. If you have a final question, get it in now. Let me bring this up. Make this a little bigger. There we go. Them bones, them dry bones. Ouch. Did you see the teaser for the next episode? Either Morgan finds his dead wife. Yeah, it looks like Morgan finds his dead wife. There's no way that's not the wife. A hallucination could be it too, but that's also really stupid, Yeah, that's supposed to be. There's no way it's not his wife because they did the hair and everything. That'd be real fucked up to add a zombie that looks like his wife. And again, don't forget, it can only be his wife if he goes back to where he put her down. And if he put her down, why didn't he bury her? Give her a proper burial. Now, maybe he lost his mind, but what was he doing back then? What was Morgan doing? He was gathering up all the walkers and throwing them in a burn pit. So did Morgan kill his wife and not burn her? Or you mean to tell me Morgan's going to show up and find his dead wife as a zombie on the ground? Like, no matter how this shapes up, no matter how this plays out, I shouldn't say that. Many of the ways this is likely to shape out seem stupid as shit, Monty, what do you think about the budget will be for the Rick and Michonne show? Well, 6 episodes, right? Potential for follow-up with the second season. I've always believed there's a potential for a second season. I don't believe this one season bullshit. It could end in one season, absolutely, but I just think they'll leave it open. And let me see. We know they're too cheap to do. Right, we know they're cheap enough to go right around $1 million to $2 million per episode for the normal shows, right? Even the main show was only getting like 1.3 million an episode. Let's say, hopefully, and this isn't even close to what the budget should be, but let's say that the budget is sitting at 1.6 to 2.3 million per episode, which would be, well, we'll just do 1.5 to we'll do 2 million. 2 million per episode, which is 12 million total budget for the first season. I'm going to even say, just because I said 2 point something, we're even going to say, let's say 16 million budget for the first season. And I still think they're going to undercut that by a lot. It'll be so low, I don't believe they'll reveal the budget, put it that way. She's hotter than the new Jill, at least. Yeah, Maggie's definitely hot. And yes, Carlos, the thing Flaw and All is on my list to do this year. There's a handful. The Thing, Predator, those are on my list that they're getting done. I mean, those are what I'm working on. I don't know how many, because I don't know if the channel's going to grow or if we're going to be able to sustain itself. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to, pick some of my favorites. We're opening up Patreon, so we get some supporters there and they can vote. I'm looking for a clean way to interact with supporters, so that way it is fully interactive to where they can vote on what's going on. At least so that could be our guide. But I do want to bang out Predator, The Thing, and maybe some, a little bit of a passion project for before it's like totally out of my hands, because it's voting. Ronnie, what did you think of House of the Dragon? I thought House of the Dragon was really good. I thought it was real good. He eventually shot his zombie wife, then all he saw was red. Do you think CRM will have a reach in Europe, France? Well, I think that's part of the idea, isn't it? Night, Ronnie. Have a good night, Luke. Great stream, bad episode. I appreciate it. Yeah, 1 season for Rick, but 5 seasons for Dead City. I understand. It's funny because the actor is getting a little bit of roasting. I haven't seen a lot, but maybe she's getting a lot of roasting. But she's getting a little bit, and that's Lauren Cohan. And I get it. Lauren should, if she lives in reality, she should already know that she's going to get flamed. You just got to take it on the cheek and keep it moving. I understand why it's her job, and it's a franchise that she loves the potential of it. She has nostalgic connections to it. The Walking Dead made her career. The Walking Dead made her career, made Andrew Lincoln's career. It made Sean's career, Denai Greer. These put them on the map, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it doesn't mean anything other than that. It doesn't mean you owe it to always do Walking Dead shit. Anyhow, so there's that special connection. I understand with all that in play, I get why she would want to do it for 5 years. Totally understandable. But in the same strength, you got to understand that you're going to get flamed because you left because you thought they underpaid you. And this is an AMC underpaid everybody. We found out. Until the contracts expired, AMC underpaid everybody. Terribly so. And, that led to the show being broken down and finished. Keep in mind, AMC wanted to end it because when the contracts expired and everyone renegotiated, the price that the AMC paid for Andrew Lincoln, Norman Reedus, I think they went up like 27 times what they were making. For example, I think as an example, they were making like, 60,000 and then they're making like 800,000, that type of difference. You have to go look up the real numbers. You can find them. But the point though is that was like the starting block of we're breaking The Walking Dead apart. Because the idea is you split them up. They're so costly. You split them up, put them in their own shows. It makes it, you can function better that way instead of all in the one show. Anyhow, you can spread it out because their mentality, don't forget, was AMC wanted Walking Dead all year round. They did the spin-offs, it didn't work. So what do they have? They have a main show with, 8 characters that people love. Blow it up, splinter it apart, and now we have our year-long content. That's kind of the mental process of it all. So I understand why. Hold on one second. So then you have this show. Forgot my train of thought. Fuck. What was I talking about? It doesn't fucking matter. Oh, Lauren Cohan. So she was not getting paid what she thought she deserved. She left. Now, the normal public, you're going to get 2 reactions. You're going to get people that they don't care. They're like, you left, and it's like, well, whatever's best for you, I got you back, yada, yada, yada. Or they just don't care. Not in a bad way, they just don't care. So they're like, oh, she leaves. But then you have another portion of the public that are going to be like, you're rich, you're famous, you got the life most people watching you dreams, and you're going to complain, think you're hot shit, go to a new show, get the money you want, but you're not a big draw on that. Maggie's the big draw. You're not shit. Sometimes that's how it is, until you build up. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't, he might have been like I mean this in a positive way, but like a freak show to watch at first. But he became the draw, not the character. It was, at first, originally, it was, that character, and it quickly branched out to Arnold was the draw. And that, you'll see that a lot with talent. The character could be the draw a lot of times, and you'll eventually break out of that mold where you're the draw, the actor themselves. Anyhow, so then she went to her own show, and it failed miserably. A lot of reasons for that. One of the reasons is you take fans of Maggie, that type of show, and yada, yada, yada. We're not going to watch Whiskey Cavalier, We're in here for the zombie genre, blood, gore, horror, cool, gritty, grounded, grimy, yada, yada, yada. We're not watching Whiskey Cavalier. Fuck is that, I want to watch this procedural cop bullshit where it's a bunch of sly, witty comments, you think, and fuck all that. Who wants to watch that shit, The people who want to watch that aren't your fans, Anyway, so it fails miserably, and she comes back to The Walking Dead, and now she's got her own show, yada, yada, yada. So she wants it to go. So you're going to get that. I think she needs to just take it on the cheek, and she'll win people over. And if the show is good, if the work on the characters is good, you could possibly get a good 5-year run with a lot of positive shit behind it. But I think the one big thing is just taking it on the cheek for the roasting you'll get. From what I've seen, it's only like a 30% roast. There's people definitely there, but luckily it's not like flooding into it, because we don't know the details behind the scenes. Don't forget, she could be, it's great. It's a dream to be rich and famous, and imagine working on a zombie show as your job. You know what I'm saying? Like, holy fuck, it's an absolute dream. However, we don't know the details of how AMC was dicking her down dirty. So it could have been real bad. It could have been disrespectfully bad. It most likely was. So although it's easy to say, you had it made and you bounced, yada, yada, yada. Maybe AMC deserved a little dose of reality, a little shot of, well, fine, then I'm out, But 20 years from now, we'll get all the details. It's weird, but it's like what happens is once certain people leave certain positions, other people retire out of the industry, and people lose certain power that they have, and maybe time goes on, and now it's not such a big deal, because a company doesn't want to hire an actor if the actor immediately spills all the details that go on behind the scenes, Even if you're not a dirtbag, you want to maintain the brand, a shield over the brand. Anyhow, 20 years, 15 years, 20 years, we'll find out all the details, I bet you. Like Harvey Weinstein, perfect example. Harvey Weinstein had enough pull to where he could play games with a bullshit, like Boondock Saints when it came out. It was a bullshit little indie movie, nothing behind it. And Harvey Weinstein was playing like God over it. bragging about getting it shut down. No one bought it when it was screened in the film festival, and that's only because of Harvey Weinstein. So he shut it all down. It's amazing how people allow one person to have that type of power. It's probably the same people who were like, "Ooh, how dare he?" Yet all of them knew the entire time they put up with it. But it's just amazing how people, because if collectively, if all those people who had the real power, if they all were just like, nah, bro, fucking no, then he wouldn't even have that power. But the point, though, is it doesn't matter. But I forgot the point, bro. Will Daryl make it back to the U.S. to reunite with Carol, or will she travel to France? Will Daryl make it back? Oh, I think Daryl's coming back to the U.S. because if you look at his life, he's over there for something. And they decided to film there too. But he's coming back to the US. So I think he's going to come back in season 2. I don't think they're going to continue film. Oh, I'm sorry, season 3. Because I think they're doing season 1 and 2 overseas, but then they're coming back for 3. Unless he stays there, I don't know. He eventually shot his zombie wife. Okay, I already read that. Dead City is going to go around 4 to 5 seasons. Daryl show is already getting their season. I'm beginning to question why they even ended the main show then. Well, I think if you're already splitting Daryl, Maggie, Negan, Rick and Michonne, I mean, it makes sense to cash in on ending the main show because there's a number of advantages. Not only actually ending the main show, which it ended in a flop. I think viewership-wise, it was a bit of a flop. But if you think about the contracts they have for the Walking Dead main show, those contracts are all done, So when you start a new show, even the spinoffs, there's new contracts for it, whether it's the distribution or everything that's in play contract-wise. You're starting from scratch. So I think in a big way that not only that, I'm pretty sure with the unions with filming shows that go on, everything gets pricier. And I think that's built into how it is. Naturally with the actors, once they get so popular to where they're a big part of the draw, they naturally get more expensive. But I think if I remember right, everything goes up union wise. So if that's the case, it makes added sense that they just shut it down. If Carol travels to France, I think that's incredibly even more stupid. So he'd have to come back to reunite with her. AMC literally killed the main character's son just because they didn't want to pay him adult salary. Cohan was smoking something strong if she thought they would raise her pay with Daryl around. I'm sure that was a big part of it. I have a little conspiracy theory why they got rid of the actor, and I think the pay is a big part of it as well. Someone will definitely speak at this rate. AMC won't be around for long. If anyone new here, my conspiracy is, and I do believe part of the not paying him an adult salary is, I know we've looked into the details of that, and I remember there's something in it that was man, I don't know. I'll have to look at it again. I don't know. I'll look it up because I don't want to say the wrong thing. But part of my conspiracy is they didn't want him being the legacy character, so the actor himself. So, damn, I might be wrong. Someone else comment if I'm wrong. But I think when we did look that up about him, because that was the theory, and here he was already getting paid. I don't know. I don't know now. I might be thinking of something else, but I don't want to speak on it if I don't remember. But if he was a minor and, became a major and yada, 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 that's probably a big part of it. Apparently season 3 of Daryl's show is already in the works. How long is the show going to go for? Last I read, season 2 they were already working on, so season 3 would be, idea phase. I'm not under the, I don't, when you say it's already in the works, I picture them, scouting locations at the very least, starting to film it. Like, as far as last I read, it was season 2 that they're working on, but season 3 is idea phases, concept wise. But I could be wrong, but I don't know if that's what you meant, or if you're announcing that season 3 is really actually filming. I think that'd be nuts. They didn't even air the first season yet. How will the finale reunite work with these split shows though? Listen, there's only 2 ways it works. If you don't have a reunion, if you save the reunion for whatever they can do later on down the line. Because here's the thing. What do people want? The reunion. If you put the reunion in the Daryl show, what does that do? It ramps up the hype of the Daryl show. But the Daryl show already has its hype. What about the Maggie show? You're wasting the reunion. It already has its draw. If you take the reunion and save it for after you see what because they don't know the future. They're doing all these seasons with the Daryl show. It could suck so bad that the love for the character barely keeps it alive, and they just shut it down after season 3. Maggie, they could love that. It could go for 10 seasons. They don't fucking really know. It all depends on the material. Now, with the reunion, if they save that for a Walking Dead reunion special, whether it's a movie, this is AMC Plus. They don't need a movie theater. They can do a 4-episode mini series with the reunion, just the reunion, and that's it. That's all your promotion needs. Characters reunited. Here's the story of how cameo with Negan and Maggie and Daryl and Carol and Rick and Michonne and the yada, yada, yada. This is like the Walking Dead reunion to close it out. As of right now, it makes the most sense to save the reunion for its own thing, totally separate. After Negan has done for Maggie and her kids, do you think Maggie will ultimately forgive him? I think that's the only direction. They need to make a choice. And viewers are getting sick of this whole will they, won't they bullshit. They need to make a choice. And she needs to, ultimately get over it and work with them, or they need to just be enemies and one of them kill the other, or at the very least, stay certified enemies no matter what. Because this back and forth, it's annoying the way they're doing it. Because it's like they're enemies, but they're still always together, and that shit's annoying as fuck. Sorry. I don't think AMC cares about legacy and what's not. It's just about money. Well, Wankstein, they absolutely care about legacy. Legacy is their money. It is their money. They absolutely care about legacy. Picture this. I don't think you're thinking of this, but picture this. I think you made the comment because of the Carl thing, but I'm talking about Carl being the main draw for the show, which isn't a good thing for the show, so they lose money, so it is connected to money. But imagine this. They're going to start a new show, totally brand new characters. They announce it, Walking Dead spinoff with all new characters. Where's the hype? Is anyone hyped? Not a fuck. There's probably 10 people excited about that. But now, guess what? They announce a show, and it's going to follow adult Judith Grimes, yada, yada, yada. RJ could be in it. They hype up this, the Grimes legacy continues. The amount of people immediately interested in the first and the second is probably 100 times greater in the second version of that because of the whole concept of legacy characters. That's money, bro. And maybe you weren't thinking of it like that, but that's how I see it, and that's why they're important. Legacy characters, legacy and established are almost like cousins when it comes to the film industry. When you want to make a show about ghosts, you'll make more money. A comedy about ghosts, you'll make more money if you just call it Ghostbusters than if you just made a whole new IP. It's just how it is. It's a shame. Unless, of course, don't forget, Hollywood is kings of mediocrity. If you have an amazing idea of story, concept, pacing and visuals for your ghost story and you do a new IP, you could start a whole new franchise. Hollywood is very much the people calling it's when you look at what goes on behind the scenes, it seems like the biggest problem is the money men are so afraid to not squeeze every penny they can. They just point at what made money and they say, copy that. Just copy that. It made money once, it'll make money again. And they've been doing it for so long. If you hear some of the behind the scenes stuff, some of these people they're just so fucking out of touch, but their process is copy everything that works. And they do a lot of things that will hit. And again, there's reasons for that, but that's why a lot of it, Hollywood for a minute there was just getting stale as fuck. And it's even worse now, you know? After all Negan is done, okay, I did that. At least Walking Dead completely shirt on their fans' faces. At least Walking Dead didn't completely shit on their fans' faces. They did many times. Walking Dead, Tom and Jerry. Either she does or she doesn't. I think I lost track of what chat is saying. It's a shame because I don't think we are ever going to see Rick and Morgan reunite. As of right now, I don't think we're ever going to see Rick and Morgan reunite. Like I said, though, unless there's some sort of reunion filmed in 8 years and they cameo Morgan, you know, I don't know. They're still young guys, you know, so everyone involved is relatively, you know, should be around for a bit more longer career-wise. Andrew Lincoln is obviously done. Yeah, he likely came back because of contractual obligations and a sense of duty to defense. I actually think he was free of his contract up until the point where they signed for the spinoff, of course. So for the movies, unless that's what you're referring to, the movies and all that, yeah, he still had his contract for those. Those appear to be based off of the deal that they could work out, which all fell apart. And turned into this show, which, hey, Fear is tonally inconsistent. How did these showrunners get this job? Oh my fucking God, man, it's so bad. I hate it. Faith and Smells. I don't know. I don't know who the fuck hired them. And I'm sorry, but Jesus Christ, they're a terrible match for the zombie genre. No, I don't think Heath will appear in the Rick and Michonne spinoff. He's not needed. The idea of Heath is something that can be named and highlighted quickly, but he's just not needed. He's not a big enough draw. The amount of people being like, oh shit, it's the character who disappeared in season 5. The amount of draw is equivalent to just mentioning she took him there. That's it, you know? They can name, oh, Heath is doing very well in Sector 17A, you know? That's it. That's all you need. Anyone still wear Walking Dead merch? I haven't seen Maine since that. I've seen some, but I think it's fallen a lot. I wear a couple t-shirts every now and again. I got some cool Walking Dead shirts. All right. Last question coming in. I'm going to read it. We got to really roll. I'm almost at 2 hours, and I really want to keep these at an hour. Last question here. They care all right. That's why they killed barely anybody big in the final season. Oh, hold on. They care all right. That's why they killed barely anybody big in the final season and revealed the fates of 4 of them before part 2. Yeah, they care about the money from the spinoffs. My reply didn't show up, but I basically said legacy means nothing to AMC because Judith won't draw in viewers. That's why the spinoffs are about Daryl Maggie. Yeah, we're just the context there. I say that in a loose way, but yeah, the context there, we're totally different. The context is not the same as what me and you were talking about. I think that's why we're not seeing eye to eye on that, because you're doing this comparison like who's popular, Daryl or Judith. That's not what legacy means though. Legacy, like, that's why I called it the cousin of establishment, because when you have a franchise that's established, when people hear, oh, they're making this movie of people going back in time. Oh, I like time travel. They're making another Back to the Future. Whoa, fuck, you know. When you have a connection to the IP being established, that's what legacy characters do, effectively. It's money. If they need to make, and again, stop comparing it to, not to yell at you, but to understand the context of when I say legacy characters, don't compare it to Daryl. There's no reason to compare it to Daryl whatsoever. The legacy character is quite literally AMC wants to do another show and they want to make as much money as possible. They have two options, you know. One, start up and we don't know anybody. And the other option, it's connected to Rick Grimes' daughter, son. And why is that valuable? Well, obviously, there's fans who are going to want to see grown-up Judith, you know? And there's going to be the tease of what cameos are we going to see? Rick, eventually? You know, RJ? Carol? I mean, who else? There's so much more draw. That's why I said the legacy and money is connected because of that draw. But once you start comparing them like with what's going on now, that's not the context that I'm talking about personally. Who said this pro wrestling episode was my favorite episode ever? Monday. Wait, what? I don't know what that means. Do I spell it canceled or canceled? Well, I think I looked that up a long time ago, and you can spell it either way. I don't have that in the title, do I? No. Why would I have that in the title? But I'm pretty sure you can spell it either way. I would do one L, though. I mean, yeah, I think I would do one L. You could do two L's. I don't really think there's a point. If they want to revive The Walking Dead in 20 years or reboot, bring Judith back as a badass woman, but then kill her in a hilarious way. And that's another greater possibility is the time skip. I've talked about that years ago. Keep RJ alive, keep Judith alive, and then you can time skip, and now you have, boom, you know, legacy characters to just start off from. Off topic, but have you seen any of From? No, I have it on my list to watch it soon, but well, maybe not soon, but I want to get a chance to watch it. I think it's on Hulu or something. I had just canceled Hulu like 2 months ago. So if it's on Hulu, I probably won't watch it till the winter time unless it's somewhere else and I end up watching it. But I think my brother's got Hulu. You know, if we're visiting and I'm watching on his account, maybe I'll check it out. But it is on my radar. All right, but I'm going to shut it down, though. I know my daughter's peeking her head in. She wants to ask me something, so I'm going to get going. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. I will mention it yet again. Typos are bad tonight. Oh, okay. I will mention it yet again. I have no problem shitting on Fear the Walking Dead for an after show afterwards. The show is so incredibly stupid, and there's just not enough interest for people who are, you know, there's like 50 of us that are like, oh yeah, let's see what's going on with Fear, even in a shit on it type of way. It's just, I would, in all honesty, not to pick or choose, but it's probably best for me to just take that hour, 2 hours, you know, even 3 hours if you count watching the episode, and just put it into the work to finish up Flavor Sauce to get them posted on some real shit. It's probably better to just simply do that. So I might see you next Sunday. I might not. If you're on Discord, I will definitely let you know. So, all right, have a good night. Also, Kasal Bob, whatever, I fucked that up, but he mentions the PPP reference in Tales of the Walking Dead. I don't really care about the PPP reference. Why bother bringing it up if Heath wasn't relevant to the spinoff? Yeah, PPP reference is just to get you going, oh, you know, it has no purpose at all. They fucked that all to high heaven. I would just forget about it. Even if they bring it up, it's going to be in the dumbest way possible. PPP doesn't mean nothing. It was just something to put in the episode to get people to talk about it, to get people to click, to keep the show relevant. Just a trick. That's all. It failed. Do you think Lenny James is saying he's done because he knows there's no way to redeem Morgan after the writers butchered him? I think it's a money play. I'm done. I finished. If AMC wants him back, they know he said he's finished. They're going to have to pay more. They got to pay up. Plus, he could definitely want to just take a break, you know? Money and quality. Take a break, bring up the quality, and I'll come back. We better see Negan drop some F-bombs and bash some skulls. I agree. We better see it. The last truly great episode was season 7 premiere. It was all downhill. I do agree with that a lot. The season 7 premiere was fantastic, even though the idea of killing off 2 characters was incredibly stupid. The idea of killing off Glenn was even more dumb. Not Glenn, I'm sorry. just killing off two characters. The idea of doing the cliffhanger was probably one of the worst decisions in the history of The Walking Dead. That was the moment I personally knew the show was done for. I mean, it lost its integrity in a huge way. So, all right, guys, thank you very much. I may not see you here next Sunday. If not, though, stay tuned for June, because we're going to do a special on the channel. It's going to be 10-year anniversary coming up in June. So stay tuned for that. All right, love yous. Peace. Be safe.